Hi, this is Bill Leverty, and I want to show you how you can dial in a big guitar sound very quickly with a Waves plugin called GTR. I really like this plugin. I think it's a really versatile plugin, and it sounds amazing. So as you can see, my guitar is coming in on this input in Pro Tools, and it goes out a bus into that input of this aux channel, and then basically out of my output. But up here I've got the plug-in, and this is what it looks like when you click on the plug-in. You've got a virtual pedal board here, and you've got all these slots to put your pedals, and then you've got your amp. And your amp can go at the end, like they have it as default, or you can put it over here in the middle, which I prefer to do. That way your guitar comes in here, it can go through a couple of pedals, then into your amp, and then out of your amp into a couple of other effects. And this plugin routes them virtually for you, and they sound great. So anyway, here's a tuner that it's got. It's a great tuner, and that's kind of how it works. Looks like I'm a little flat on the A string, but that's okay. For this video, we're just gonna rock and roll right through it here. When you click on this amp tab here, you'll see that it comes up with 2 amps. You can have, and this is your pan control on this amp, and this is your pan control on that amp. So you could have in your left speaker, you could have one kind of amp. Let's say it's a Vox kind of amp, and then over here you could have maybe a Recto kind of amp. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to push the link button, and then whatever I do on either amp, it's going to change them both equally. So I can click the bypass button, and you can see they're both toggling. So this is the default clean sound. Let's hear the direct sound so you can hear just what the direct sound sounds like. My CR all-sip guitar, just the lead pickup or the bridge pickup. I like these Neil Citron mods or amp models. This Legatron Crunch I thought sounded really good for a rock rhythm / lead sound. It sounds very well balanced to me. This default cabinet sounds great. It's a 212, but you can see all the other cabinets you've got to work with in this. I stuck with that, and I stuck with the default mic that they use for this, which is a 409. Some of these here's ribbon. Some of these other mics that they've got on these other amp models, or cabinet models rather, have U87, they've got 414s, they've got a bunch of different stuff. Here's something called Air. This adds a little bit of early reflection to the amp. I'm going to crank it all the way up so you can hear what it sounds like. So you can hear that. I'm going to go with that just completely dry for this. And no delay. This is a delay where you can delay, if it's a dual cabinet, you can delay one of the mics a little bit. That'll give you a very realistic sound, but for this, we're going to add some delay later. Phase polarity switch, where if it's not in link, you could have this, because of using this, your one amp could go out of phase with the other, so you can check your phase. So that's a really nice feature that you want. And then, of course, a volume for each one, and we'll just leave that as the standard default setting. Here's the gain. I found that putting this gain at about there sounded really good. Cranking the mids up about that much, cranking the treble up about that much, and then just a little bit of presence made it sound good. And here's what this sounds like. So you can hear all the notes in a complex chord like this, or even, something. You can hear them all, and they hold together well, and I like that. That's something that we're going to need later. So when we get over here to this tab here and click Stomp, we're back at our pedal board with our amp halfway down the chain, and then we've got our effects. So the first thing that I would add is an overdrive pedal. And yeah, we've seen this green one before. I back the drive down a little bit and I bump up this tone. It adds a little bit more of a higher mid-range focus to the tone. And I really like the way that sounds before the head. It has a little bit of noise though, so what we might want to do is add a gate. This gate comp is a kind of a 2-in-1 pedal. I'll turn the compressor off for a second. You can hear the noise. You can hear it gate. You can see the gate come in also. So I'd set it right about here, and that was good. When you turn the volume down, it goes away, which is really all I want. While I'm playing, I don't want it to gate it at all. Let's go one more thing before the amp. I would add an EQ here, and I'd bump up a little bit of the 125, and then pull out a little bit of the 250. Pull out a little bit of that. This is a very sensitive, very nice EQ. I'm going to crank up a little bit of the high mids and a little bit of the definition and the presence there. Just a little bit, and I'm going to crank that up just a little bit more there, and that's and that to me sounds pretty darn good. Then we're going to add some ambience over here, which this reverb sounds great. I'm going to crank it up in the mix so you can really hear it real quick. Of course, that's way too much, but you can get an idea that the size of the room is not a problem for me. This is how bright it is if you want to get it really bright. So that's I don't like them bright. I like reverbs to be dark. I like the initial attack of the guitar to come through and then the ambience to be dark. It doesn't interfere with the snare drum or the vocal. And that sounds pretty good, although we'll just turn it back a little bit so we just have a little bit so that it sounds like you're mic'd up in a room. And then we're going to add the digital delay. The digital delay you'll hear is a ping pong delay. Go back and forth. And that to me is too many feedbacks. I only want it to go back and forth about 1.5 times. And that's about right. It's a little too much in the mix. And then I'm going to cut some of the highs so that the repeats in the delay are also not real bright. And that to me sounds really nice. And then the last thing I'll add is a doubler. And this doubler that they've got is just beautiful. And it I like it at 4 cents, which is about as wide as I want to go, and I just have it very subtly set. I'm going to crank it up so you can really hear it. I'm going to set it so that it's all the way wide, hard left and right. And you can really hear that. Let me turn off the reverb and turn off the delay. And I'll toggle it back and forth so you can hear what it sounds like. You can really hear that widen it out, and I would only use that about that much in the mix. So toggle that back and forth. And then here. And then we put it all together, and then we've got what I think is a beautiful guitar sound. And it's great for rhythms too. So something like this. And that is Waves GTR. And I love this plugin. I hope you'll check it out. Thanks for watching this video.